Welcome back to another edition of the B4evaKool podcast. My name is Rex45.
My name is TJ with Two Wheels and Coffee.
What's going on, man? How are things?
Everything's getting colder. It's that November weather kicking in.
Right. I see. I
In
see
the
the beard.
30s.
The beard is coming out, so that I know what that's like. Because for me, when I was in Boston, after I stopped shaving after September, so by the time December came, I had a halfway decent beard.
I'm so used to wearing hoodies or long sleeves just because I'm in New England.
Yeah.
Jealous you're wearing that T-shirt right now.
I got you, man. I got you. I'm gonna be there in a few days. I got you for sure. But yeah, no, I was on a call earlier today, or a video call, and the people I was talking to, man, they were in Chicago and Boston, and it was ski hats and sweaters, bro.
Oh man, we got a brutal 5-6 months of this. So I guess we're getting ready for it now.
Yeah, listen, I can't talk. I was in Homestead this past weekend, and Sunday, and did a track day there for the first time. And it was nice to drive 3 hours to Homestead. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm used to 28, 30 hours when I was up that way. So
Yeah, let's talk about your track day. I mean, I know we're used to driving an hour and a half, 2 hours with traffic.
to Loudon.
To Loudon, and I've been to New York Safety Track. It's about 4 hours.
Right.
So
So it's about
that was a long trip for me.
yeah. No, that's
So,
listen.
but I know you're used to going long distance for tracks. So how'd that feel to go to a track day and
It,
3 hours away?
it felt pretty good because it was a short track. It was a short trip, and then with the converted trailer, I used to stay in hotels, but now I stay in RV parks. so so it's
I'm sure there's a lot more down there than up here. I'm assuming. I don't know.
yeah, for sure. There's stuff up north, but I don't know what it's like once it gets cold. But definitely there's stuff up north. But traveling and staying at RV parks RV. I don't think they call parks, but campgrounds and RV places is definitely different than staying in hotels for sure. One is cheaper, and that's that's the best part. And you can come and go, and then you can cook your own food and do everything you need to do. So that's the plus side of it all. But it's definitely different.
There we go. So I know you haven't been on the track since Daytona. So now did you have all your belongings and everything
No,
went well?
no,
Smoothly?
no.
You didn't forget no tire warmers?
Oh no, I had tire warmers and stuff, but definitely, and that's something it's weird, right? Because like once you're in a consistent season, you got all your stuff. But I think I can't speak for everyone, but for me, not having a consistent schedule, yeah, I definitely, forgot things, forgot tables and not. I mean, I had the tire warmers. I had that, I can check my tire pressure. I had my toolbox. You know what I'm saying? I could ride, right? But it's the ancillary stuff, the stuff that you need. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily to go riding, but just to make your weekend more comfortable. I got a nice red chair that you can sit in for 5-6 hours easily without getting tired of it, type of thing. Probably even longer. And I forgot that. And again, it's not the end of the world, but it's creature comforts, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, I know that chair. That chair. You used to brag about that chair a lot.
Listen,
I sat in that chair.
Right?
That's crucial.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So forgetting those things. So yeah, it definitely, and just, I'm from the racing background more than I am from the track background, right? I didn't start out doing track days. I jumped. I mean, Jim would point out, even the classroom on Penguin for the Friday before race weekend is a track day. But outside of that, I didn't do any for a while, so it still feels weird because you almost you your body, does this thing around race weekend for a lot of people, regardless of whatever you're racing, regardless of it's basketball or whatever. It's that fight or flight mode. You know what I'm saying? Like, like things start to happen to your body. You start to get into a certain space and your a mindset, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, we're not racing.
Yeah, that's true.
and it's just like, oh, like so for me it's a little different because now it's kind of like it's practice. It's like, okay, go out there. I'm going out there trying to, I was going out there literally trying to just pick through everybody, and I'm on my RC 390, right, and a lot of big bikes out there and stuff like that. And my mindset is like, oh, just catch the next person, instead of like, am I working on anything? Am I, I'm not working on anything. I'm just really just trying to pick through traffic and catch whoever's in front of me. So
that's it.
Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was gonna say that's the tricky thing about a track day. Some people take it as practicing to get up to speed and trying to make passes, and some people are there just to work on things. And for your sake, we're so used to racing, so like when we go to a track day, we have to find something to work on, because we're so used to racing.
Exactly. So it took a little bit to settle in, into like, okay, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to work on something, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever, Apex, whatever, figure out something, but you got to work on something because, that's what it is. And so that took a little bit for my mind to get into that role. Great. Like, I felt pretty good. Some good sessions. I may even had my, when I had some open track in front of me, I probably even got one of my fastest times on the KTM. So I felt really good about that. But it is interesting because like I signed up for the intermediate class, my first day at this track group, but never used them before or anything like that. So I really didn't know what to expect or anything. So I didn't want to go throw myself to the wolves because in the advanced group, there's some rules, but at the end of the day, everybody knows how to ride, and I'm on a smaller bike, so I took the intermediate group. So that was a little bit different because they're all different caliber of riders in there. And, and so for me, and I'm pretty sure people who have been doing track days and racing probably have more experience than me showing up and trying to figure it out. But it's weird when I'm on the track with thousands. You know what I mean? It is weird. I almost wish that it was like, okay, there's three groups, novice, intermediate, and advanced. But it almost and it could be a time thing or whatever it could be, but it almost should be breaking up by CCs to a level as well because, one of the biggest problems I had, like I can catch guys and gals in the corners and stuff like that, but in a straightaway, people would pull away from me, but then they'll park it into the corners. So then, and with the rules, you really can't pass as in a race. So therefore, I'm kind of stuck behind riders that I would want to get in front of. By like, I think there's like 7 or 8 sessions. So, by like the 6th session, I was just passing people on the outside. It was one of those things like for me to get a really good laps in, I had to pass people. And still, even doing that, I still didn't get. I was still 3 seconds slower than what I was when I had no one in front of me. So I had fun. It's a little different, because you got to practice, and there's all type of riders on it, and it's a whole different mindset. But I do like it, and I plan to do more track days, regardless if it's with this place or somewhere else.
Discrepancy because now you can't find things to work on because someone's breaking too. They pass you on the straight and then they break too early. Now you gotta adjust to their braking instead of finding something to work on.
Right. And let me tell you, man, on a 42 horsepower bike, it's different than when you're on the R6.
Because you're like, hey, bro, I'm not braking.
and I can't
hurry up to get through the corner.
Yeah, and I can't gas past them. You know what I'm saying, like that. Without it making it is what it is. At the end of the day, I had fun. I felt really good on the bike. This bike I've been dealing with all year, trying to sort it out, and this is the second. Daytona was the first round that I felt really good on the bike. And then this round to follow it up, it felt good. Yeah. So I just saw the other day with CCS that they're gonna start combining classes, which is something that for somebody who likes to do a lot of races. That's going to be a problem because now it's just kind of like there's 300 and 400 superbike races, and then there's 300 and 400 super sport races. So now in a weekend, if I wanted to do a race on my KTM, I can either do the 300 or the 400 or both, but only do one race. And then there's a 400 GP. And then I think it's the GT Light or the 500, one of those things for the 24 minutes to 25-minute race. So there's not a lot of options. So I'm kind of disappointed that the races are now being combined together instead of keeping them separate, which is something that, for myself, I was hoping to do some 400 races and some 300 races, but now I just got to pick, one or the other.
Yeah, that's tough that they decided to do something like that. I mean, that's one thing that I'm still trying to figure things out is, the rule book. I mean,
Right.
we all read part of the rule book, but just for our classic bikes,
only the things that we care about.
well, I mean, like when I first started, I knew about the rule book, but I didn't know about the classic riding. So I started out in Penguin racing.
Right.
So I did a couple of races on there on a rented 400. So when the following year came around, I got the R6. I deleted the 400 and everything out of the profile. So when I signed up for races, it still made me sign up for racer 3 and 4,
right,
which are races for 400s and lower. So I'm out there on a 600 racing with 400s, and I get disqualified, and I'm just like, for what? And they're like, oh, you got to be in racer 2 or racer 1.
right.
And I'm just like, okay, no one has explained that to me. So
Yep.
them taking the classes in and out, it's just something that I hope is explained a little bit better. So I don't understand why they would take out some races for that particular class. So it's a little more frustrating for you.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they're looking at numbers. Maybe a lot of people don't sign up for the 300 races, for the 400 race. Well, a lot of people sign up for the 400 races, so the ninjas probably are doing better. But you still got the KTM's and the R3s and the Ninja 300s and the Hondas and stuff like that. So it may be a consolidation thing. It may be a revamping thing. I don't want to sit here and bash anyone because I don't know the reasoning behind it. But from a rider's perspective, now the most I can do on my bike is probably 4 races in a weekend. Outside of ASRA 400, if I'm racing CCS ASRA. Now, I know if you look at Wearer and some of these other places, I think the most is probably 2 races each day if there's a 2-day round and stuff like that. If you're racing a small bike and other bikes, so I don't know the ins and out of it, but it definitely less races.
Well, I mean, I know 4 races for me in a weekend. That's about a good amount. Some people can do 6 to 8, and I just don't know how.
12.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a lot. A lot of funds, but it's a lot also on the body. But yeah, four races is pretty good. That's what I usually try to do on the weekend.
Right.
But I don't know, the size on the 400 is probably a little easier on the body.
A little easier on the body for sure. Same thing though. I mean, for the folks that won't sign up for a lot of races, good luck to you. Good luck to you. That's all I can say. I've done 8 races in a weekend. You know what I'm saying? So I've done rounds where there's back in the day, I can say back in the day now, there's double. there was sprint rounds, so it's double the weekend. So if you normally sign up for 4 races, what I'm saying, now it's 8 races because it's the same race again the next day type of thing. So I've done it, and it can be done. it can be done, and folks
Oh
do
yeah, sure.
endurance races and stuff like that. It can be done, but realistically, I like to relax a little bit, and I like to do four races, 4 or 5 races is I think is a good amount for me. I don't necessarily need to do 8. I don't know. Not to say I don't need to do 8 races, because if those rounds came back and it was sprint rounds, then I'd be doing them. You just did them. You just knew you had to do them and stuff like that. But realistically, I'm okay with not doing 8 to 12 races in a weekend.
Well, if you're chasing championship points, then that makes sense.
Right.
You want to get as many races as you can out there to
Right. Overall
see where
championship
you
points.
stand.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
overall
Yeah.
championship.
Overall championship points if you're chasing that, or if you're just an endurance junkie. You know what I'm saying? Because there's the like, listen, some people want to do them 100-mile, 100-something mile marathons and all that. I'll do 26. I'm okay. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
But you know what I'm saying. So there are folks out there that they're into the endurance game, and I dream about it. I think I can do it, but I haven't
I
done it
mean,
yet.
I got a friend at Loudon who doesn't stay the night. He just comes down during the race day. He
Uh-huh.
does the GTU, and then he does the dash, and he's going home.
That's it. 2 races.
Uh,
Yeah.
2 races, the longest ones,
Yep.
basically. and he's
Yeah.
going home.
Exactly. And one day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I think for everyone, it's a bit different, for sure. But I don't. I like the smaller bikes. I mean, I like all of them. I don't think, if I was racing earlier in my life, maybe I'll be racing 1,000. But I have no desire. Not to say I have no desire to race 1,000, but I don't have a desire to race 1,000.
I mean, I would definitely take 1,000 on a track day if I had a clear track. But
yes.
I need like like how they do like a test day.
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
just like a couple people there, nothing too crazy.
Right. And so one of my hopes is to do track days in Europe, right? That's one of my hopes. And I'm probably going to start out on my R6. But I like those tracks, I think you probably need to be on a bigger bike because they're just bigger tracks. But small tracks, you know what I'm saying, for me, and in the fatigue part of it, because it's a lot of energy. It is a lot of energy to ride those bikes, to brake and the gas. It's the most fatigue you're gonna be. So you got to be in the shape that you need to be in to ride those bike. And some of these tracks in the U.S., I don't know what the numbers are, but a lot of tracks, the lap records on 600s are very good. So you know what I'm saying, and they're usually smaller bikes that the lap records are being set on. So 750, 600 type of thing. So it's one of those things where if I can't ride the wheels off a R6 or a 600 bike or middleweight bike, what am I going to 1,000 for?
That is true.
So
I mean, yeah, you gotta try to master the skill at least.
Yeah.
On the bike you have before you move up. That's the proper way to do it.
That is the proper way. Like, you got that bike coming down sideways, doing all type of things on that 600. Like you're throwing it around like it's a tricycle. That when you're doing that, then that makes sense. But I find that there are people riding big bikes that probably should be on small bikes. I said it. I'm gonna upset some people, but it's you can see it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you just want them to develop a better skill opposed to doing it that way. But there some of those leader bikes are more rider friendly nowadays. I rode a 600 on the street for 7 years before I even thought about a 1,000.
Right.
And once I got the 1,000, I was like, oh yeah, now like it was just so much easier to understand.
Yeah.
But can't speak for everybody.
Nope, can't speak for everyone. And the beautiful thing about this country is that anybody can do whatever they want to do. So I stay away from the 1,000 classes, and even the 600s at this point. Give me the lightweight, give me the ultra lightweight bikes. That's just where I am. I do miss my 600 racing for sure. Even at Homestead this past week, yesterday, I was just kind of like, I should have brought that bike. just to do some track days and stuff like that. Because it is fun, but the thing that you learn on these smaller bikes is it gives you a little different kind of discipline, because you have to do all the right things to make the bike go fast. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if you do all the right things on a small bike, it's easier to transition up. I think when you and that's how it is for me, because I started on a racing on a SV 650. I went to a 600, jacked myself up, figured I should sort things out, and I went to the RC to sort it all out. And these last few years has been pretty good. Feel really good on the bike, and it's also made me faster on the 600.
Well, I know on the track for sure, racing lines is very important. So you don't want to, in the braking markers, you don't want to decrease that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You want to like go faster and increase your braking markers and tighten your lines.
Yep.
You don't want to start on a faster bike and jump on something smaller and try to figure it out unless you've done it already. So.
Exactly. And speaking of big bikes, man, let's roll right into it. Let's go into MotoGP. Because this past weekend was pretty wild, man. Pretty wild.
Yeah. Are you team Pecco or are you team Martin?
I'm team Ducati, baby. Team Ducati.
No, that's a post on MotoGP site now. They're asking if what team you rooting for.
Right. Look,
I know it's just close. It's just down to them two.
I've said it before. Ducati wants Pecco to win, and I'm not a conspiracy theory, and I am a Pecco fan. But Jorge Martin performance on Sunday was suspect.
Oh, hey, Enea Bastianini was like, I'm taking this. I think Martin's riding was okay. I think he just didn't have a great start.
Come on.
I mean,
you're a fan. Come on.
He finished what, fourth or fifth? Fifth.
Yeah.
I mean, that track is like it's all gas, pretty much. Yeah. There's two long straights. I mean, there's a couple tight corners. He was off his game a little bit, but I mean, he didn't ride like a champion in this race.
Right,
sure.
Right. So you sure the three bosses didn't go tinker with his bike at night, uploaded some data just to say be slower than Pecco.
I mean, during the practice and the qualifying, he was on pole for a second. I don't know what Alex Marquez was on.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe that shook him up a little bit. But yeah, who knows? Like maybe they tinkered it by a fraction of a second. It was like, all right, by lap 15, he's going to drift away. I promise.
Yeah. Because I don't want to blame the rider, because he's a fast guy. He's always been fast. And it'd be one thing if he made a mistake. But it was one of those things like he was a little bit confused at the end, like, not believing his performance. And we all get like that for sure. But definitely, I was, again, I'm rooting for Pecco to win it. So I don't know why I'm saying this, but it just feels like, if they want team order, they can have team order. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all Ducati, so they literally can just say, "Hey, we want Pecco to win." Period.
I know one thing is when the race started and I saw that red Ducati out front, I thought it was Pecco and it was Enea, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I was surprised. That was because of Pecco, I think, because whatever media brought out there, that question that they brought saying if Martin joins, the factory team, and Pecco was like, no, that's not fair. I think he's scared to have Martin as a teammate. He's like, no, that's not fair.
I don't think. I mean, think about it, right? No rider is scared of a teammate, right? Because you're not going to be in MotoGP, World Superbike. You're not going to be anywhere if you're scared, right? So I don't think scared. I feel legally he's under contract, so they can't really get rid of him. And I know it's nice to talk about, but you can't really get rid of him. It may be a situation like Polo Spargro where he's the backup, but they're still paying him his money because he's under contract. So to switch back and forth, I think it's nice to talk about. But there's still contracts in place, so I don't know how much that's going to happen. I don't even think that's even fair for Anaya. But Anaya could have passed Pecco on a sprint.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was fair for Anaya. It was right for Pecco to say that.
Yeah, and he chose not to. He chose not to because he understands like Ducati factory wants to win. I mean, at this point, Ducati's gonna win regardless. But they but they want the factory to win, right? And he chose to stay behind Pecco for that. And whatever they figured out that the data they had, they improved on it for Sunday, and he was able to run away like he did. And which I'm happy to see because the dude was fast. I was, at the beginning of the season, I thought it was going to be him and Pecco. And then
this is what we wanted to see.
And then when Marini took him out, accident, of course. When he took him out, that was tough. You know what I'm saying? And then when he took himself out, that was also tough. And you hear in his speech at the end of the race, only his family, his girlfriend, his friends know what he had to go through, and it's like when you have adversity like that, and you have to get over stuff, and there's people hunting for your job, it's tough. And then to top all that off with them saying what they're saying, like, oh, the way he's riding, he should get a factory seat. And outside of Bezzecchi getting hurt, Bezzecchi was riding just as good too, right? You know what I'm saying? And Bezzecchi he stayed with Valentino, and he probably could have took Frankie's seat in Pramac, Zarco's old seat, right for 20. He's not old because he's still riding it, but for 2024, and so for them to say that, I guess it's the proper thing to say, but Anaya won that seat. And no fault of his own. Obviously, the second crash was his fault, but the first crash was not. And it's possible that the first crash probably led up to the second crash because he's just trying to play catch up type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And for them to say that was tough. And then for him to come out and I, we've all been watching, seeing, he's in the top 12, top 10, it's like, oh man. And then for him to do what he did, it was definitely a beautiful thing. And I'm definitely happy for him. I'm happy for him for the win. And happy for him for not overtaking his teammate, thinking about the factory championship, and not necessarily Ducati championship.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, he rode great. Like he was just on cruise control basically,
Right.
I'm very happy for him. Like I said, that was unfair for that topic to come out to even put Martin in that situation to talk about it like that, especially like you said, when someone goes down with an injury, the people are so unfair that they just like if it's Michael Jordan who goes down with an injury or someone like that, like when he comes back, they expect him to be the exact same right away.
Right.
And it's but they don't see that process that they have to build up on the outside or where you can't see them,
right,
and expect them to come back to be the same. So I think when that topic came up, whatever Pecco said just threw another fire under Anaya.
Yeah,
he just took off running. So I was happy to see that.
Yeah. And
he had to prove that he was still a good rider because like a couple rounds ago he was like in 22nd, 23rd.
Oh yeah.
And he was still dealing with his injuries. So.
Yeah. Definitely. So I'm definitely happy for him. I think Pecco's riding smart, but the luck is on his side at the moment. You know what I'm saying? And there's only a couple more rounds for this year, so he just got to worry about this year. But next year. Next year is anybody's game.
Yeah, you got to come out right from the gate. I mean, that's what they all try to do, but You just got to come out right from the gate.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And were there any surprises over the weekend as far as MotoGP? Miller did fairly well. The Aprilia struggled.
I think Fabio actually did really well. Just to see the way he rode in practice and the times he was putting in qualifying, he was actually on pole for a little bit, but that was going to go down after the practice. But I think he rode really well for what he got, because you haven't seen him up there fighting.
For a while.
Yeah. Miller, I'm trying to figure out why he keeps drifting back. He rides really, really well, but there's something that Brad Binder seems to be a little bit stronger.
Right.
Yeah, a little more figured out. Obviously, this is Jack Miller's first season. But when someone is super excited, and when they start something, they give their best effort.
Right.
So they might get that little jump on someone else.
Yeah.
And then he seems to lose traction and fade back almost every race. So.
Yeah. And he had the same issue with Ducati. I don't know.
Yeah.
And this is a management of tire thing. I don't know his tires alone, so I won't say that.
Yeah.
But it does. He's had this issue with Ducati as well. And at that level, it is just just a hair of a difference, right? Just a hair of a difference on the trigger to a different rider. So
just to save some life on a tire for 2 laps,
Exactly. So there's definitely, you can see it in Moto 2 as well. There's definitely riders that at the end of the race chew the tire up way more than other riders, that type of thing. And he's I'm a big fan of Jack Miller. I would love to see him win more races, for sure. But that is the one thing. It's the end of the races, he falls backwards instead of forward. Granted, there was a lot of other riders this past weekend falling backwards too, so he wasn't alone in that, for sure. But he definitely helped KTM, become a top 5 bike. But he's somewhere got shuffled back a little bit.
Yeah, but overall, I think he did well. Looking forward to next round because it's 1 week away. They right back on the bike.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And then Moto.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I was gonna switch to Moto 2, but
same here. That's why I said go ahead.
Yeah. So I root for Aaron Canet all the time, and he didn't have a good weekend.
No.
But we're gonna congratulate Pedro Acosta for finally pulling out the championship.
Woohoo! He is the 4th rider to enter MotoGP, winning the first 2 Premier classes.
Congratulations, Pedro Acosta.
Right, he's the 4th rider. Valentino Rossi, Danny Pedrosa, and Marc Marquez.
All 3 very good, talented riders.
Right, and he is one of the youngest riders to do it as well. And pretty impressive. But also shout out to Fermir Aldegier, right?
Oh yeah. He's gonna get that seat.
Which seat are we talking about?
Oh wait, did he get offered a seat for GP?
Well, the rumor mill has it that Luca Marini is being courted for Marc Marquez's old seat, and if that does happen, if Luca Marini goes to Repsol Honda, which has got to be some kind of vindication for Rossi somehow, pay me the money somehow.
Yep.
It sounds like Fermé might move up to Luca Marini's old seat. Again, it's still 2023, so he's still riding the bike, but you know what I'm saying. So,
what do you think about it?
Well, it sounds like he was also offered the Repsol seat. So the fact that I think he turned that down, or it was rumored. Same with Paul Espargaro. Also was they were trying to bring him back to Honda, and those guys didn't want it. So it'd be weird that a lot of riders don't want that seat, but Luca Marini, is considering it, and it's also weird that they didn't offer it to DiGiannantonio as well. So they must know something there that they're saying, hey, we don't want DiGiannantonio. We'd rather deal with Rossi, even than deal with DiGiannantonio, which is kind of also odd. For if I was Luca Marini, they would have to offer me a 4-year deal with a 2-year option after that. If you want me to, how many crashes between Mir and Marquez this year? Well over 50.
Marquez is at 27, 28.
Yeah, between the both
Mir's
of them,
probably almost 50.
Yeah. If you want me to do that, give me a 4-year deal, pay me a lot of money, and give me a 2-year option at that, because at least I know I can be in MotoGP for 6 years.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Because the one thing, as I feel bad. I mean, even though Iko Lukuono is still on a Honda factory team in World Superbike, Remy Gardner's in World Superbike. You know what I'm saying? Like the owners, I mean, maybe always, but there's some riders that I felt like just got treated pretty bad. I shouldn't say pretty bad, but bad. And it's one of those things, like you don't want to give up a good seat that you have. You're not Pramac, so and he's gotten pole. I don't think he's won a race yet, but he's been on the podium, Luca Marini, and it's a very good bike. So outside of money, if Marc Marquez is willing to give up his factory seat to go to Gresini, money's not money's not the end all. Right, because Marquez could have just stayed and got the money. So I can't believe, and his brothers is Valentino Rossi. So I can't believe he's sitting here saying, "Well, I'm gonna go take the money." So it has to be something more. And sure, when they turn that bike around again, because they will. I mean, they got enough money that they will turn the bike around. There's no question that Honda doesn't have the money. I can't speak for Yamaha, but Honda definitely got the money. But as a rider, you could stay with your brother. I don't know how long he could stay with his brother either, because there's young riders coming up. So obviously, if they're talking about it, having that conversation, it has to be something greater. And I gotta assume this guy's gonna stay in MotoGP for a while, because I don't think Rossi's gonna have his brother get bounced out of MotoGP quick. You know what I'm saying?
He's gonna put up some dollars to make sure that don't happen. I can't see Luca Marini going to World Superbike, something like that.
Yeah, no, I don't think he will go to World Superbike. But if he leaves, VR46 Mooney and goes to Honda, and Honda gets rid of him in a year and a half, 2 years, or whatever the case may be, and you got Vermeer on Mooney next year, and then you got Bezzecchi on, and if these guys do really well, they might move up the class, right? And so forth. And you still got young riders coming in. You know what I'm saying? There's still a lot of young riders out there that are really good. So, it's very tricky. So I don't know what's going to happen. Again, if he was to go, he knows he might not be on the podium again. I mean, if he stays with VR46, there's a good chance he's going to be on the podium. But if he goes to Repsol, he may or may not be on the podium again. He may or may not have a pole position again.
Yeah, I mean, they got to have to. Until they fix their bike.
The Honda will, but whether he's riding it is a different story.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So
that is true.
So we'll see what happened. It was nice to see Vermeer win. Like I said before,
that's back to back, right?
Yes, back to back. And like I said before, to me, on paper, to me, he was a better rider than Acosta. To me, and coming out the Argentina before Celestina took him out last year and stuff like that, like he was up there. And then I think he had a bunch of bad luck last year. Not to say that Acosta didn't either, but he had more bad luck, and it took him a while to get his feet back underneath him, and he's there. And honestly, if he's riding the way he's riding now, Who's gonna catch him next year?
Yeah, I mean, now Acosta is leaving. I mean, I know
And he's
Pedro was
beating
trying to be
Acosta,
safe.
and he beat Acosta by 3-4 seconds.
No, it says he beat him by 7.
Okay,
7
there you
seconds.
go. I'm making
Yeah,
it smaller than what it is.
But I was going to say Pedro obviously knew he was going to win the championship, so you don't want to make any type of mistakes. So he knew he had it won with what's his name, Tony Arbolino. He had a crazy incident.
Yeah. Motorcycle racing, you gotta love it.
that turn 9, like there was what 6 riders that didn't finish.
Yeah.
And then one corner, 2 riders crashed at the same time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That was crazy.
Which was kind of spooky. It's like, do you get